For the sports lovers out there who like to get their gamble on, whether it be on the NBA games, NFL, Major League Soccer, even National Hockey League, Major League Baseball, even college sports, go to betus.com to make that bet. If you use the promo code TKT for the Klown Times, you get up to 125% of the sign-up bonus, which is up to $2,500. Another perk you can see, you can bet on the go, which means you can bet anytime, anywhere on your mobile device. You get fast payouts, so you can get your payouts immediately every single time. Do not have to wait. And you can do live betting when you can bet during the game, whether it's early or the best lines, you can do it all. So anyway, please sign up for betus.com. Use the promo code TKT for the Klown Times. You'll be able to do so, right? Check out betus.com, where the game begins. All right, brother. I'm gonna close the show out on this, if I may.
Okay.
It's a little thing I've been thinking. Well, it's not a little thing at all. Speaking of the weekend, that's something I've thought about as a father to a little Black child, and it's one thing. It's a big reason why people like you, me, and many other fans, alums, and supporters out there love our HBCUs. It's because of things that likelihood of things that took place in Provo, Utah over the weekend. And that involved Brigham Young University's volleyball squad hosting the Duke's women's volleyball squad. In case you hadn't heard, anybody out there hadn't heard, during the match, there was a fan, BYU fan, who heckled, well, that's being kind, hurled racist remarks at the lone Black starter on the Duke squad named Rachel Richardson, who's a sophomore from Munich, what it was, Elliott City, Maryland. To the point where, she was heckled every time she went to serve. And also, it got to the point where the same fan made threats telling her to watch her back after the game, to the point that they put, the officials there assigned a policeman to sit on the Duke's bench, which tells you one or two things. Number one, the fact that the game continued, that they allowed this to keep going without stopping the match, out of Hill's problem. And the fact of the matter is that not only did BYU, I know BYU apologized, I think last night or just earlier today, during the volleyball, like they said, 3-game stretch of volleyball midday tournament. He came out to apologize and admonish the fans in attendance about the treatment of the young lady at hand. But the fact that that no one thought, either BYU's coach, the officials, or even Duke's own head coach, did not cross any of their minds to stop the damn match until that racist fucktard was removed. No one thought about that. And to the point where essentially people keep it on BYU as far as blaming them, but everyone's the blame. Like I mentioned, at least BYU, at least the president, not the president, athletics director at BYU apologized after meeting with the young lady and her family after the game. It should, even though it shouldn't take place after the game, it should have happened then. But at least he made that move. The fact that Duke's own coach did not stop the match disappointed me. Let me tell you what, for those of you who are complaining, well, that never happened before, it did. And Dwayne, you know this. You should know about this being from Washington, D.C. area. Let's take it back to the mid-1980s, Big East basketball, with a coach by the name of John Thompson, coach of the great Georgetown Warriors, right, during the Patrick Ewing era. Now, I forgot where they played. They played on the road. I want to say at Providence. And for those Providence fans, if I'm wrong, please forgive me in advance. But it was a road game. There was some heckling that took place that was racially charged, right? It's to a point where John Thompson just went and said and looked at the officials and said, look, until those group of people, those group of fans, not it wasn't the obviously whole fans, but it was a group of fans posting signs, racially charged signs, unless they get removed, we ain't out of it. I mean, we ain't playing, we out of here. And you know what John Thompson did? He took his team off the damn court. I'm sure you remember this.
Sure do.
And I don't know how they found him. I don't know how long it took because it's over 30 years ago. We were kids. We were like 12, 13 years old. But the point is that, well, in my case, I was like probably 12. But the point is that those fans were removed, if memory serves correct. Georgetown's players, like John Thompson, brought his players back out on the court. So it's been done before. And that's why I think the Duke coach missed the mark on that. So that's why we mention these things. And this is not in the diamond of PWI. I have an undergraduate degree from North Carolina State. I love my school. We can't win anything, but I love my school nonetheless, right? And sure, most of the fans at BYU were not participating in the chant, but the fact that no one thought to even tell them to shut the fuck up tells you something, because it's always silence. Dr. King said himself, it's always a silence. That's the indicator of the atmosphere. It's always a silence. And, you know, it's that, and one more thing, man, what would make, and apparently this fan was a grown-ass man sitting in the student section.
Yeah.
Now, first of all, the fact that you have a grown man, an adult, a grown, like an older person sitting in the student section, that's troublesome in and of itself. But what would cause someone, how sad do you have to be as a grown-ass man to racially abuse a young college student, a young 19-year-old girl? What the hell is wrong with him? And that's why it angers me, because no one around him, not the coaches, not either the coaches or the officials, thought enough to tell that dude to shut the fuck up or else, and pause the game until he was out of it. Sure, he was banned. I get it, he was banned from sports, like subsequently throughout, at least throughout the year, if not ever. I think he's banned for a long time, past the season. But still, he was still allowed to make the young lady unsafe, and she struggled. That should not happen. That's just a man abusing a young girl like that. Not even a racial thing. A grown man abusing a young college. That's unacceptable. I'm sorry to sound real pissed off and you hear all sorts of obscenities, but I don't like it. I don't like that the young lady was failed like that. We both dads. We both have kids. We don't want our sons to be abused like that.
No.
I have a 12-year-old son. I know your son is in the military, but you know.
Yeah, that man was a grown man, and I still don't want nobody saying nothing about something like that.
Thank you. Especially not a damn 30-something-year-old man abusing a young adult. Why? Why? So that's why I love my HBCUs, man, because those are environments. Now, say what you want to about the challenges that we face. We already detailed some on this show tonight. You know, the fact, you know, the lack of funding or whatever. Thankfully, a lot of our loans been given back to these schools. But I really appreciate the environment these HBCUs provide, these young people out here, the fact that, you know, these young Black and brown kids, and some white kids too, go there for the education, get the nurturing that they need. That you can't get that anywhere else. I'm sorry. And I know that BYU sports programs have a lot of Black kids, but outside of that, their student population is minuscule at best.
At best.
So again, that's why you got guys like us telling the stories of HBCUs in their sports. And many others out there, we know who they are. Some of y'all know who they are as well. And I give props to HBCU Game Day and there are many, many others. They know who they are. So I thank them. I thank God for them. And people like, you know, other BYUs out there, if you will, fans out there, other schools, no matter what color you are, just y'all gotta do better. Just gotta do better.